Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 8 of the MFFL Nation Show. Today, I am here with a former high school basketball teammate, someone who I won a state championship with, actually. Noah, what's going on, my man? I appreciate you for joining the show today.
What's up, Mason? Thank you for having me on. It's an honor to be on the best Mavs podcast in the game. And, we were on that state chip team together. You did a little more than me, I must admit, but it was fun getting that trophy regardless.
It was. And Noah, let's get straight into this episode. I first want to start off with some news that we got today. Brett Siegel over at ClutchPoints reported that the Dallas Mavericks are targeting a future Hall of Fame point guard in free agency. League sources indicate that the Mavs are exploring ways to convince Chris Paul to sign with them in free agency. Now, I take this in a way where this is someone who you can trust to fill the void while Kyrie Irving is out. Chris Paul was one of the less than 10 people last season that were able to play all 82 games. Availability is the best ability. This is by no means someone that's just going to change the whole landscape of your team's future, but rather that's someone you can put somewhat of reliance on until Kyrie returns. I do look at this and say, okay, Chris Paul would be playing a similar role that Spencer Dinwiddie was playing for the Mavericks last season. And I think if we're comparing those two players, Chris Paul is an upgrade. I think that what he brings offensively is better than what Dinwiddie brings, especially turnovers-wise. It was a nightmare to watch. And then also defensively, Chris Paul's declining, but by no means was Spencer Dinwiddie an attractive defensive player. So I think overall this would be an upgrade for the Mavs. Obviously, it's going to be very difficult. Chris Paul has came out and spoken about the fact that he wants to be closer to his family, wants to be near them, So I think his top options are going to be a team in California, probably the Clippers or the Lakers.
Yeah.
But if the Mavericks could find a way to acquire Chris Paul in free agency, I think I wouldn't be ecstatic about it, but I would be excited because he fills a role that the Mavs severely need right now.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I wouldn't be ecstatic about it because, again, he's filling the shoes of Kyrie Irving. I mean, really any player, it's hard to fill the shoes of someone that great, especially offensively. But Chris Paul as kind of a stopgap point guard just to fill in before Kyrie comes back. I mean, he brings exactly what the Mavs need, just to bring the ball up, set up the offense, dish to the big men, things like that. I think he would be a perfect fit for the Mavs. I mean, obviously his age is concerning, but like you said, he played all 82 games last year. So, I mean, if the Mavs can go and get him, especially if it's not that much money, I'm totally for it 100%.
Yeah, I would have to assume this is a vet minimum deal.
Yeah.
I believe he was on a 1-year, $10 million deal with the Spurs, but Spurs also had money to spare. And I think you look at the fact that he played 82 games with the Spurs. I think you look at the fact that he had a good impact with Victor Wembanyama when Wemby was healthy. And Dallas Mavericks are about to have a first overall draft pick in Cooper Flagg. I think having Chris Paul on that roster is someone that Flagg can benefit from learning from. You look at this team where Flagg can learn shooting from Klay Thompson. He can learn handles from Chris Paul and Kyrie Irving. He can learn even more defense from Anthony Davis and PJ Washington. So I think adding Chris Paul into this team is not only beneficial for the Mavericks roster, but for specific players as well. For a guy like Cooper Flagg, for a guy like Brandon Williams, who we've seen is obviously someone that is a student of the game, someone that studies Kyrie Irving religiously. So even bringing in someone like Chris Paul, and by no means do I think Brandon Williams is just this generic G League player anymore. I think he proved that he is a rotation player on an NBA roster. Do I think this guy's a 20 points per game scorer? No. But I think this is someone who could give you legit spot minutes in the playoffs. So bringing in a guy like Chris Paul is going to be very beneficial for those kind of players.
Yeah, I want to reiterate that I've been seeing this narrative going around that Dallas is not a good situation for Cooper Flagg to come in, which is just totally not true. I mean, it's probably people just hating that the Mavs got the number 1 pick, and I get it. But at the same time, like you said, learning from all these veterans, AD, Clay, Kyrie, even though he's hurt, and then adding Chris Paul to that just brings the off-court stuff to another level. And I think that would be great. And Cooper Flag could learn from Chris Paul and all the vets. And I just think that would be a great move for the Mavs. Again, don't know how realistic it is because, like Chris Paul said, he wants to be closer to his family. But very excited for that potential move for sure.
Are you more on the page of wanting the Mavs to get like a vet minimum guy, say like a Chris Paul, Tyus, or Trey Jones, or a Malcolm Brogdon, rather than them potentially trading Gafford for a guy like Colin Sexton, or potentially, I don't see it happening, but like a Kobe White?
So I go back and forth with this because I look at it one way and I'm like, okay, I don't want to give up PJ or Gafford because we know how important they are.
I think PJ's untouchable.
Okay. Well,
I
Gafford,
personally think. Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't disagree with that. But like even Gafford, like we know how important he is to the team, even with AD now. But again, I wouldn't be opposed to trading him for a player like Lonzo Ball or maybe a player like Colin Sexton or someone like that. Because this player, like the guard we trade for, we want him when Kyrie comes back. We want him to be able to play next to Kyrie and also give the team a boost when he comes back as well. And I don't know if a vet minimum guy can do that with Kyrie, but it'll definitely be interesting.
You also want a player, and this is you don't need, but you want a player that you could potentially have share the floor with Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul by no means is going to be ever sharing the floor with Kyrie Irving.
No,
That doesn't, yeah, you can't. I mean, it just won't happen. And I think another perspective that we have to look at is that, okay, you bring in a guy like Chris Paul, but I think the Mavericks should attempt to go get a guy like Alonzo or Colin Sexton, because not only do they fill that void while Kyrie's out, but this is some Alonzo or Sexton. This is someone who you can have on your roster when Kyrie and AD are done.
Yeah.
And this 2 timeline approach goes from a 1 timeline approach that is just prioritizing and focusing on Cooper Flag. And that does make, look, you have to trade away good things to get back better things. It's just, it's the true story. And so it'll be interesting to see what the Mavs do. If I had to take a guess, I think they end up going for a vet minimum guy. I would. This is just my prediction. This is no sources or anything like that. I would have to think that the Mavs go get a guy for cheap. And if there was a big deal, I think Nico Harrison is obsessed with making February deals. I think that's one thing we learned. Whenever there's a deadline coming up or draft night coming up, Nico Harrison loves to make moves. I mean, we saw it this year with the Luka trade. We saw it the year before with Gafford and PJ. The list goes on.
Yeah.
And then we see it on draft night. I mean, the lively Case and Wallace trade. Jaden Hardy's draft pick was a trade. Melvin Ajinxa was a draft trade.
I haven't heard that in a minute.
Hey, people forget about Melvin.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
And then Omax was a draft trade. So I think we're going to see Nico active regardless. It's about when. I do think we see Nico Harrison active on draft night, which is close to 48 hours away. Yeah. And yeah, I'm very excited for it. I'm very excited. My bold guess is that they do make a trade for a late first rounder or a early second rounder. Please, Nico Harrison, do not trade Najee Marshall or Caleb Martin for a first round draft pick. Because I've been seeing that like tossed around a little. And I don't want to, like, I'm obsessed with Walter Clayton Jr., but I do also see like a floor where he's like the next Jaden Hardy. You know, like,
yeah, no, I totally agree. But Caleb Martin, like, is that? I think I would do that, to be honest.
Yeah, Yeah, I would do it for Caleb. You're right. No, I would do it for Caleb. I would cry if they traded Najee.
Yeah, no, he was
I've been
huge for us last year, especially with all the guys out. He was great.
Najee's been a supporter of the page too. That would break my heart.
Yeah, no,
But,
he's the man. He's the man.
yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome. Those are the kind of players you want on your team when you want to win a championship too. I mean, I think nothing like every time I think of Najee Marshall, I think of December 27th. And when he got in that scuffle with Nurkic,
Oh man, that was amazing.
it was
That was
amazing.
so
It was like it was so fun to watch.
yeah.
I was shocked we ended up winning that game too. But the next segment I want to go into is what seed will the Dallas Mavericks, this is just early predictions, what seed will the Dallas Mavericks be at the end of the 2025-26 season? This is really complicated, and I don't want to just say, oh, they're going to be the 5th seed. I want to take it down the line. Obviously, I think it's clear to say that OKC is going to be the 1st seed.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah.
And then after that, it gets pretty tight because I do think like there are teams like the Lakers where they have a glaring hole with their center position. So I do think, I mean, look, Luka makes the playoffs every year, but if they don't have a center again, I mean, it would be pretty hard to see them like a top 3 seed.
Yeah.
Same goes for the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have a lot of offseason stuff going on this year with Randall, Naz Reid, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So I think we can agree on the Thunder being the 1 seed, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
I mean, no question.
I think I'm going to say the Rockets are a better regular season seed than the Mavericks.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, again, this season they were a great regular season team too.
And they just got Kevin Irving.
Yeah, so
I have to look at the Nuggets and say they're going to have a better regular season record because look, it's really hard to predict where the Mavs are going to be because you don't know what kind. Obviously, Cooper Flag is going to be an outstanding player, but you don't know what kind of immediate impact he's going to have. I expect him to have a very good impact, probably overreacting more than some people, but just after a lot of film being watched on him, I don't know what he doesn't do. Like,
I mean, he does everything. I mean, that's what you got to do as a fan, right? I mean,
yeah,
you got to be hopeful, you know. But it's so tough because even if he has that immediate impact, Kyrie isn't coming back till like February. So that whole time, it's just, and we don't know if the Mavs are getting a point guard or stuff like that. So that whole time, it's just really hard to predict.
Yeah, and again, I love AD. I love Lively. Those are 2 injury-prone players.
Yeah.
So it's another thing you have to think about. So, I mean, I think we could go OKC, Houston, Denver. I want to say if Golden State stays healthy, I mean, what they did after the Jimmy trade in the regular season was really impressive. They still were in the play-in, actually, because they lost that final game to the Clippers, regular season game to the Clippers, I think it was. I think Golden State's a regular top 6 seed. I want to say the Lakers are. So that's 5 right there.
Are you leaving out Minnesota?
So that's the one I'm contemplating. I'm contemplating Minnesota. Like, I think the bubble for top 6 will be for that 6 seed will be the Clippers, Minnesota, and Dallas.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And, and San Antonio. I think San Antonio is going to be so good. I think they're
such a wild card, man.
They're such a wild card. I mean, the West is ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think there's a very serious chance that we end up seeing the Mavericks in the play-in again. And I don't take that as a bad thing, honestly, because if they do get a 7 seed and, say there was 7 seed this year with this team and they were playing the Rockets, like I'm confident going into that series. Yeah. I'm honestly, I mean, I was an advocate for this throughout the whole playoff run for all the teams and everything like that. If the Mavericks were healthy and they had Kyrie and a healthy AD, I think they make the Western Conference Finals.
Oh, I said they would beat the Thunder. I said that. I mean, that's just me being biased, but I truly believe that.
I don't think they would have beaten the Thunder, and I think that's because just after watching, I mean, their defense was ridiculous. Just after watching how ridiculous their defense was, I don't think the Mavericks had enough ball handlers and facilitating. I think why a team like the Pacers thrived against them was because you could give the ball to Halliburton, Nembhard, Siakam, or McConnell, and they can make a play with the ball in their hands. And the Mavericks only had Kyrie that could really handle the ball at the time. I mean, you couldn't really trust. I mean, PJ was his turnover rate went up a lot when he became the small forward.
Every time he brings the ball up the court,
Yeah.
it's a turnover.
I mean, Max Christie, I don't really trust his handle yet. Clay, I mean, Clay's just going to like post you up from half court and like back you down to the 3-point line. And so I think that's something that the Mavs really need to that's the number one hole. You got to get another key ball handler.
Yeah. You need someone who can just take the ball up the court, run the offense. Like
exactly.
Not even anything else. Like you just need someone reliable who can do that.
And PJ Washington needs to do 2-hour ball handling drills every single day this summer, Sundays as well. But what do you think about where the Mavs will end up? Just pure early prediction.
So like just going off vibes right now,
yeah.
Just talking about it with you. I think like realistic like placement for them is probably between the 6 to 8 seed, if I had to say. It's just so hard to predict what they're going to do, like especially before Kyrie comes back. I mean, who knows? Like Cooper could have this immediate impact and they could start off the season red hot and maybe trail off from there.
But and I wouldn't be shocked.
Me either. I mean, we've seen how good of a player he is, and J Kidd will probably use him in literally every which way, bringing the ball up the court, playing him at the 3, the 4, which is just going to be beautiful to see. Just as a Mavs fan, it's going to be amazing.
I think we're literally going to see Cooper Flag play every position this year.
Yeah, I mean, he can. I truly think he can.
He can.
Maybe except the 5, but
I think we could see it. PJ would probably play the 5 over him. No, I'm gonna go. I see like a 5 to 7 seed. It's really, I mean, we do have to remember the fact that when the season started last year, for like the first like 3 to 5 weeks, Anthony Davis was like at the top of the MVP ladder.
That is true. I feel like that happens every season though. Like he's an MVP candidate and then he gets hurt or falls off or something like that.
So I mean, like if he does stay healthy, and I'm surprised no one gave me any rude comments about this, but I did talk about the fact that in the last 2 seasons, Anthony Davis was more available than Luka.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
It's true. I love Luka. I love Luka. But Anthony Davis has been as healthy as possible throughout his career these last 2 seasons. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to go with them being the 5 or 6 seed. I think they can hold down the fort until Kyrie returns. And then once Kyrie returns, I mean, we do have to take into account that first month is 2 months is going to be minute restrictions. I don't really think he's going to be able to play full playing time that he's used to until playoffs. So it's going to be interesting to see, but we have a really exciting next segment that I want to jump into. And let me share my screen. Mock trades from the fans, from the followers.
This is about to get interesting.
It's about to get very interesting. Here we go. Perfect. We're locked in there. Perfect. First one up. The Utah Jazz will receive Daniel Gafford, Jaden Hardy, and a 2026 first rounder for Colin Sexton and their 2025 second rounder this year. I am hanging up the phone immediately if I am Nico Harrison. I would not give up a first rounder and Gafford
Yeah,
for Sexton in a
that
second.
is too much.
Maybe I would do this if the Jazz gave the Mavs their 21st overall pick this year and take out that 2025 second rounder. If they gave me a first rounder for this year, it was basically like a pick swap, I would do that because I do think there's some really intriguing guards available there. Igor Demon obviously is someone who stands out. Igor Demon is represented by Bill Duffy, though, so I don't know how excited Bill Duffy would be about one of his clients being a Maverick again. But if they would you be down if they swapped out the second rounder for their 21st overall pick this year?
I mean, it's tough. I mean, like I said, like I'm a huge Gaff guy, but like Colin Sexton,
He's your best trade asset.
yeah, I 100% agree. And like you said, like you got to give up good players to get good players. So like, I mean, Sexton fills the exact need that we want, and he could play next to Kyrie when he comes back. So if we do that swap, I think I might consider it. I would lean towards doing it.
I would do it. I would do it. Okay, let's see it next. This is someone. Okay, so I think someone commented this based off of the article I wrote at the Smoking Cuban, and I got a lot of backlash for it because they said there's no way that the Bulls would do this. And I think it's interesting because I think the Bulls would consider this if they end up getting rid of Vucevic this offseason. I mean, heck, I would throw in Hardy if that intrigues the offer even more. I saw that they just was it Javon Carter they just like re-signed or something like that.
Yeah, you like picked up his player option or something.
Yeah, so I saw that, but I mean, if I'm the Mavs, I'm doing this because one, I wrote an article about this basically saying that if you do this trade where you get Lonzo, this is someone who can fill the void while Kyrie's gone, someone that can share the court when Kyrie gets back, and he's 27 years old. So I mean, I think obviously you have to take into account his health, but if we're turning off NBA 2K injuries, I would do this deal because then you can also acquire a center with this pick. I think a Derek Queen could be someone in the realm. There's a bunch of other centers available. I've heard Maxime Reynaud come up a lot. You could probably trade back to get him, though. He's not. I don't think he's going to go around that 12 area. But if I'm the Mavs, I would do this deal.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it's a good trade for the Mavs. But then again, like the one thing is with Lonzo is his health. Like you're replacing an already injured 32, 33-year-old Kyrie Irving who's coming off an ACL tear with Lonzo Ball, who is one of the most injury-prone players in the NBA. So that's tough. I mean, replacing an injured guard with a very injury-prone guard, but at the same time, he gives you exactly what you need. And if this is the deal, considering all the risks, I would do it.
Yeah, I'm in on this one. I am. Okay, this is similar to what we just spoke about, but the Utah Jazz received Gafford and Hardy, and the Dallas Mavericks received Colin Sexton and the 21st overall pick in this year's draft. I would personally do this. I think, again, this is another situation where you get the guard that can play with Kyrie, that can share the floor with Kyrie, and then you can also use that pick since Nico and the Mavericks organization wants to be so reliant on this double big situation. You don't want to have Dwight Powell or Kai Jones being the backup for Lively or AD. So I think using that 21st overall pick to acquire a young center not only is beneficial now, but also beneficial for when the timeline is purely focused on Cooper Flag.
Yeah, no, I like this deal. I mean, just throwing Hardy in there, like, to be honest, I kind of gave up on him. If I'm being real, like,
I'm so tired of it.
I love Hardy, but I feel like we do the same thing every year with him. Like he's gonna take the leap, like playmaking leap, like he's gonna become efficient. It just never happens. I mean, again, like he is in his third, fourth year of his career, so he has time, but I'm kind of getting tired of it. So I mean, losing Hardy, I don't really care about, to be honest.
I'm also tired of your boy, but I won't say his name.
No, don't disrespect him. Don't disrespect Omax like that. I still believe in him.
He's
But
getting traded, bro. He's getting traded.
man, Omax is my guy, guys. Like I met him. Like he's the GOAT. He's a great guy. I still believe in him. But yeah, no, I would do this trade. I mean, especially they're giving us a first rounder. Like again, I like some of the prospects late in the first round, like super intriguing. So yeah, I would do this.
Shout out to Mavs Muse.
What am I looking at right now?
This was Mavs Muse's trade idea. I had to get it up here. Milwaukee Bucks receive Jaden Hardy, and the Dallas Mavericks receive Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. 2026 first rounder, 27 first rounder, 28, 2030, and 2031 first rounder from the Bucks. Unfortunately, the Dallas Mavericks are over the allowable income amount by a little over $102 million. So wouldn't be able to work out, but Mavs Muse, phenomenal idea.
I think the Mavs say no, to be honest. Hardy's their future.
It's true. This one was really interesting. This one,
I see Dwight Powell. I see red.
I know, but the Dallas Mavericks receive Malik Monk, and the Sacramento Kings receive Daniel Gafford, Dwight Powell, and a 2030 second rounder from the Mavs. I'm wishy-washy on this. Again, I think this trade is very interesting. I don't know. I think this is beneficial for when Kyrie's out. I don't think it's beneficial for when he returns. Because then it's like you're having like too much talent on the bench. If Monk's not, because there are going to be times where Monk shares the floor at the end of games with Kyrie. But you go Kyrie, Monk, Cooper, PJ, and AD to close a game. You have Derek Lively, Klay Thompson, Max Christie, Najee Marshall, all those guys on the bench. I feel like that's a lot of talent on the bench. Would you do this?
Honestly, I mean, I said Dwight Powell. I'm like, no. But to be honest, like Dwight Powell, for all the hate he gets from Mavs fans, like he's a very solid third string center.
I love Dwight.
Yeah, to have on your team. I mean, giving up both him and Gaff, I like the idea of this trade, but what you said about the talent on the bench, I feel like that's a good problem to have, to be honest. Like having just an overload of talent at your disposal to make any lineup you want that best fits the situation. I think that's a good problem to have. How old is Malik Monk? He's like late 20s.
Is he in his 20s still? I think
like right. Late 20s, early 30s.
He's 27.
Oh, okay.
The thing is that you're sort of screwed if Lively or AD gets hurt.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I was saying about Powell. I would
throw in Omax and take Powell out. I would. I don't know. I'm saying, like, I don't know if I do the trade, but you could easily just reverse the contracts that way.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't support trading Omax, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Who would you rather the Mavs trade, Dwight or Powell, or Dwight or Omax?
Man, that's tough. I have to be loyal. I have to be loyal to my guy Omax. I mean, I need him. I need him on the Mavs, man. Like I believe in him. He's my guy.
That shot's
loyalty never fades away, bro. Come on.
Tell that to the Mavs front office. Okay, this one. I don't think the Celtics would do it. I think you would have to give up at least another first. Maybe I don't think the Celtics would do it whatsoever.
Would you do it?
I would do it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Like Derek White, I mean, his 3-point volume is ridiculous. He can handle the ball, one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. The Mavs should do this in a heartbeat. I just don't see any world where, I mean, I think realistically you'd probably have to give up PJ and Gafford because, I mean, I'd be shocked if Kristaps Porzingis is wearing a Celtics jersey next season. So I think you would have to give up PJ and Gafford and at least 2 firsts. And at that point, I wouldn't do it. But if you could get Derek White for this, I'll say the trade out loud for people listening on Spotify. PJ Washington, Caleb Martin, Dwight Powell, and a 2029 first-round pick to the Dallas Mavericks or to the Boston Celtics, and the Dallas Mavericks receive Derek White. I would do it. What about you?
Yeah, I would. I mean, again,
I wouldn't even hesitate. I wouldn't hesitate.
Losing PJ sucks, but like getting a player like Derek White back who fills every single need like you need as a team is, I mean, it's just like the optimal trade for them, to be honest. I would love to have him on the Mavs. I don't think this, like you said, I don't think the Celtics will break up that core, or at least until they need to with all the money stuff. But yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I also don't think that like people are throwing out these mock trades and assuming that like just because Tatum's going to be out for majority of the season, if not the whole season, like that means like their franchise is done for it. I think this is just like a similar year to when the Warriors didn't make the playoffs and then a few seasons go by and they won a finals, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's what's going to end up happening with the Celtics. I don't think they make any big time moves like this. If they do, it's going to be for a haul. Last mock trade, I believe. Yes, the Dallas Mavericks receive Jrue Holiday, a 2025 first, which is the 28th pick from the Celtics, the 22nd pick in this year's draft from the Hawks, the 32nd pick, which is a second rounder from the Celtics this year, and a 29 second rounder from the Hawks. The Boston Celtics receive Caleb Martin, Olivier Maxence Prosper. The Brooklyn Nets receive Jaden Hardy, a 2031 second rounder from the Celtics, and the Hawks receive Daniel Gafford. This trade was made up from Mav CBA or CBA Mavs on X. This is interesting because I think if you can find a way to get Jrue Holiday with not giving up PJ Washington while also really not making the Celtics that much better, is really intriguing. I mean, we've heard the reports in the past that like Nico Harrison was very focused on the fact like that the Mavs and Celtics would be rematching in the finals again. So, I mean, the way he constructed the AD trade and everything like that was based off of his thought process on rematching the Celtics. So I think if you can find a way to complete a trade with the Celtics without making it super beneficial for them, you do this. The Mavs are only giving up Caleb Martin, Omax, and Gafford, and they're getting 2 first rounders, 2 second rounders, and Jrue Holiday. So I personally think this is a yes for Dallas. I don't know if all the other teams agree to do so.
I mean, just looking at this, the only player you have to give up really is Gafford. I mean, Omax obviously, but I like the picks that the Mavs are getting, but that Jrue Holiday contract is disgusting. I'm not gonna lie. Like he's steadily declined. Like he's a great player, don't get me wrong, and he would be good on the Mavs this year and next year, but he's steadily declining. You can tell he's lost a step.
He's declining and his contract is increasing.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty disgusting, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like that's so much money for him.
It is, but I think I would do it. You get two first rounders in it too this year. 2 good first round picks actually. To where you could draft another center and a guard. Like you could literally get a center and also get a Walter Clayton Jr.
Well, I mean, this trade kind of plays to the 2 timeline thing, right? I mean, you get the picks for this year and you also get a vet with Drew Holiday. So if we're going by that, then yeah, I mean, it fits pretty perfectly.
Yeah, and I think, unfortunately, I do believe that Nico has put in too much belief into this 2 timeline situation that the Mavs are dealing with because, I mean, history repeats itself and the 2 timeline approach hasn't been very successful in the past. Another mock trade that I just got from a fan, the Wizards receive PJ Washington and Caleb Martin, and the Mavs receive Marcus Smart, a 2025 first, which is their 18th pick, and their 40th pick from the Wizards. No,
absolutely not. Marcus Smart
his contract is horrific.
He's also just not good right now.
No, he was. Someone sent in. The Dallas Mavericks receive Giannis Kuzma in a 2031 second, and the Bucks receive AD, PJ, Caleb Martin, Derek Lively in a 2031 first. No, thank you.
Who's sending these in? Are these trolls?
It must be trolls. Are there any intriguing ones? That's about it. Okay. Last thing I wanted to discuss before we get you out here, Noah. Sean Sweetie, Jason Kidd's right-hand man, took a job with the San Antonio Spurs. That's a rough loss for the Mavericks. And then Mark Stein has also reported that Jared Dudley is garnering interest from the Memphis Grizzlies and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And God Shamgod, who is very, very, very close with Kyrie Irving, is garnering a lot of interest from the Orlando Magic. He spent a lot of time with Jamal Mosley when Mosley was in Dallas. So this is going to be really interesting because say Dudley and Shamgod go, you are looking at in less than 100 to 200 days, the Dallas Mavericks would have lost Daryl Armstrong, Alex Jensen, Sean Sweeney, Jared Dudley, and God Shamgod. That is 5 assistant coaches. That's pretty hectic. I know that Stein also reported that the Mavericks hired Jay Triano, who's been a head coach in the NBA. He is not filling in for Sweeney's role. He is filling in for Jensen's role. So the Mavericks have a big slot to fill there. I know there's been conversation of maybe them promoting coaching consultant Frank Vogel into that role, but Vogel wants to be a head coach in the NBA again. I believe he's just waiting for the right opportunity to get to him. So it's all going to be really interesting, but do you take anything from all of that?
I mean, the one thing I take from that is regardless of how good of coaches these guys are, which obviously they are, the number one thing that the Mavericks organization needs right now is stability, especially after what happened. We don't need to talk about it this year. That's the number one thing they need. They need stability in the locker room so the guys can know they can go out every night and not have to worry about assistant coaches leaving or anything like that. And I was saying the same thing when that whole Kid saga was happening with the Knicks, and people were like, "Oh, like whatever, like we don't want Kid, like he can go to the Knicks." I'm like, it doesn't matter if you think he's a good coach or not. They need stability right now because that's something they've been lacking since February when they traded Luka.
Are you a Kid fan?
I'm not gonna lie, like I have called for him to be fired after he didn't call those timeouts, whatever. But I teeter back and forth. But like overall, yeah, I would say I'm a Kid fan.
I'm a Kid fan. He's a playoff riser. I mean, he's been to the playoffs twice with the Mavericks and Western Conference Finals and NBA Finals. So,
I think all Mavs fans have had the moments with the Kid where they're like, fire Kid, you know?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. I mean, like at some points, like the whole timeout thing is ridiculous, but
yeah.
I'm a Kid fan. I mean, people are still trying to like entertain this, like, oh, maybe like he goes to the Knicks. I don't see it happening.
No, especially with the draft coming up in a couple days.
Yeah, but it'll all be interesting. Noah, appreciate you for coming on, man. It's been a while.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we'll run it back for sure, man. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in to season 3, episode 8 of the MFFL Nation podcast. be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure to check out the description. I'll be sure to put Noah's handle as well on X, so be sure to give him a follow. And I appreciate you guys all for tuning in, and go Mavs.
Go Mavs, baby. Let's go Coop.